Hey Merfolk fans, I'm Joe. Thanks very much for joining me today. If you'd like to support my channel, please check out the link above to my Patreon page. I'm here with a quick update today on the mothership on magic.wizards.com. They posted results from the past week's constructed modern leagues, competitive leagues, and there's a Merfolk list on there running 4 Benthic Biomancers, and it's exactly the list that I've been discussing with you guys. If you look closely, you see it has the 4 Benthic Biomancer, a couple of Harbingers, playsets of a lot of the other Merfolk, single Vendilion Click, single Echoing Truth. The pilot here was running 4 Wizard's Retorts. He was a little bit ahead of the game on that one. I believe while he was playing this league, I was either still on Deprive or possibly testing Monoleak. At this point, I feel like Retort is the better choice. I've actually had, while testing Monoleak, a number of situations, actually more than I would have expected, where Monoleak was suboptimal or just not very good at all. For example, I got into a drawn-out game with Burn where they needed to top deck a Burn spell, and they had a lot of lands. So Monoleak wasn't able to counter the spell when they top decked it. Against Amulet Titan, they cast Engineered Explosives, and they had a whole bunch of mana left to be able to pay for it. And then in game 1 against, I forget if it was Jund or Rock, a black-green deck basically. You know, those games go really long, and Monoleak just became really useless because the opponent had 6 or 7 lands, and you know, they draw Liliana and they cast it, and they have 3 or 4 more lands to pay for Monoleak. So Monoleak was feeling pretty poor. One of the big advantages of running so many islands and running so many wizards is we have enough resources to regularly cast Wizard's Retort. So why not run it? And it seems like this pilot did very well with it. Don't actually know what his matchups were, so maybe if he's watching this video, he could leave a comment and give us a little bit of a breakdown on how the league actually went. Were there a lot of artifact decks? Was it a lot of burn or whatever? Just, you know, if you're watching this, let us know who your opponents were. We see he's on the 2 Mutavaults, which I think is smart to be able to facilitate casting Wizard's Retort. I'm kind of going back and forth between 2 and 3. I've been flooding out in a number of games, and you know, when that happens, you'd really like to draw Mutavaults rather than islands, so at least you know you can attack with something. Looking at his sideboard, he's got the extra Vendilion Click and the extra Echoing Truth. The 4 Relics, the 2 Vencers, the 2 Tidebinder Mages, and then similarly to my list where I took out the 3 Surgical Extractions and replaced them with 2 Hercules and 1 Dismember. It looks like that did pretty well for him in this league. I've been still going back and forth over the sideboard. The metagame seems to be evolving. I've seen a ton of Burn, a ton of Grixis Death Shadow, actually, and then actually a lot of black-green. So black-green should be pretty comfortably covered between the 4 Relics and the Tidebinder Mages. I don't think we necessarily need the Dismember, though it's great if they land a Dark Confidant or a Tireless Tracker. I think we can probably get by in the match pretty well with Relic and Tidebinder Mage, potentially Venser. You know, the card is okay. It's not a Merfolk, so it doesn't get Island Walk. A lot of the time, toward the end of a game against Black-Green, if you just bounce something to the opponent's hand, they're going to be able to replay it again. So I'm not really convinced that Venser is great value. We seem pretty well set against black-green decks just naturally, so I wouldn't want to overboard. So against Burn and Grixis Death Shadow, particularly, I know Chalice of the Void is pretty solid, so I'm going to try out some Chalices in the sideboard. You guys let me know what your thoughts are on that. Now, the pilot of this list for this league actually left a comment on one of my recent videos, the one where I was comparing Wizard's Retort and Deprive, and it's this guy here, Jacob Pippert, aka Le Pip, and he shared some comments. He let me know. Let's see. So the deck is killing it. Why am I hitting reply? Hang on a second. I thought I needed to expand this. This deck is killing it. Recent finishes in a competitive league: 4-1, 4-1, 2303, so variance caught up, and 50. So that's pretty solid for competitive league play. He agrees with me that Retort is a little better than Deprive. His only complaint is the Hercules. I agree they're a bit narrow. I was getting frustrated with Hardened Scale Affinity, and that seems like a pile driver in that matchup. But it's too narrow. So I kind of agree that if you want to go that way to help shore up Hardened Scale's Affinity, you could play some Ceremonious Rejections, which are, of course, very good against Tron and random Eldrazi decks. Anyhow, looking at his results, seems like the deck is running pretty smoothly. On my side, I think I've already reported to you guys the first 4 leagues were excellent. It was 3 leagues where I went 4-1, 1 league where I went 5-0, and I posted that league for you guys. But since then, the last 3 have all been 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. And the losses in those leagues were very often because of mulligans or flood or not drawing Ether Vial in my opening hand. So variance, basically. I guess when you draw a good number of islands and spells, I feel like with this list you're able to compete and do really well against almost any deck because you've got aggression and you've got counter spells. If you choose your spot right, you counter the most important thing the opponent is doing, just attack one more time and win the game. One observation I have at this point is that this deck is particularly powerful when you draw Ether Vial in the opening hand, because with our counter spells, it lets us really comfortably pass the turn to the opponent. And if they don't do anything, we just continue advancing our board, either flashing in a Trickster or vialing in some other creatures. And yeah, it's super powerful. When we draw Ether Vial and a couple of lands and then a bunch of Merfolk, it's felt like kind of unbeatable. It feels really powerful. So that's it. Just a short video checking in. Very excited. It's very encouraging that we've got kind of a first week 5-0 with Benthic Biomancer. So please leave your thoughts down below and subscribe if you haven't already. Please check out my Patreon page, and I'll check you guys in the next video. Bye.